What's up, y'all? Welcome back to
What's up, man? It's Throne Talk.
that's it.
It's your boy.
Oshindi.
I'm Graham.
What's
What's up? We got another episode.
So before the recording, we were talking about
In the what is it? What do they call it in the famous? The pre-production. The pre-production. Yeah, we were talking about how we're both artists. We both make music and different things like that, and we're just like having a conversation about like how different people want different types of splits or different types of money, and like how people like to argue their values. One of the examples that you had was
working with different producers or different artists because everyone is out here trying to do their own thing, right? So you have different people have different agreements to how much percentage you both get in the song and features.
For sure.
And for startup artists, that can be a lot of money
Yes.
to invest in, but like you said, it's a good investment because if you spend $600 on the beat, your marketing and your advertisement must as well be just as high because they don't want to waste that much money.
No, and that's what it is. The fact that you're investing and you like we were more or less saying that, like if you had to pay, like you're a startup artist and you had to pay like 600, you had to pay like 700 or something like that for literally one beat. Unfortunately, as it is, like you got to make sure that you save way more than that so that your mark.
Especially if you're trying to get an album too.
Yeah,
that's a lot of.
If it was like 600 songs for 10 songs, it's like, come on now. No one has. If you have $6,000, just as far as a startup artist, as in like you don't like. You might be just kind of doing your thing, working a day job. You might not even be working a job. You might literally have no money, just you and your homies in the basement. You got a MacBook or something like that. It'll make it be like. But at the same time, it's necessary because people got to be able to tell you what their worth is, and then at the same time prove it in that sense. Right?
I mean, we all learn from that too, right? We learn by working with different people as well. But what would you say for a new a new artist who is trying to make moves, but you don't have the funds to support yourself? What do you say? Because some people go fully in it, like they talk, okay, I'm becoming an artist, so I have to become like right away. I have to become a full time. What's your insight on that one, though?
Okay, I would try to say this. Like a step that I'm taking, I'll just use me as an example. I'll be working like in retail and things of that nature. Just more or less, I got like a part-time job in that regard. Something that could help fund things like production, things like marketing, things like if you wanted to do like a video shoot, photographer, videographer, whatever you want to call him, whatever you want to call him. If he's charging you just different types of money, it's like
you gotta work towards it.
Exactly that. Though you might be like, oh man, like I can't be doing no part-time or no full-time job, man. It's gonna take away from the hustle. You should put your hustle into overdrive because one, you're gonna be 8 hours spent somewhere that you might not necessarily want to be. So with the other 16, you gotta at least go above and beyond to make sure that you're fulfilling what you want to fulfill in your dream or whatever, your aspiration. So like using me as an example, that's what I do.
I mean, that's where I'm at too, you know? Okay. Most of the times, I don't know about you, but sometimes you feel like there's a little pressure to it. It feels like you have to have your life all together before you do your music or your art, before you do it full time. But it's perfectly okay.
Yes.
Like, how are you supposed to support yourself if you don't have a job?
Right? That's the truth. You obviously can't because you can't necessarily be relying on your parents and things like that. Not that your parents can't help. I'm saying you can't be relying on them to be every endeavor you want to do. They're gonna just automatically give you the money for it, especially if you're getting into a little bit like if you're getting into the age where you're like 18, 19, 20, 21, like you're getting to that age where you're growing into an adult. You want to be able to pursue things on your own, especially if it's a matter of traveling, whatever, taking flights. Like you have to be able to be responsible, accountable, etc., to go and do these things. Like invest in yourself. Especially at the time, like yes, no one wants to work 8 hours or whatever, be somewhere like that they don't necessarily want to be. But with the other, you gotta do what you gotta do. And with the other 16, you gotta make sure you're going above and beyond. That means you're gonna be tired going into the studio in that regard. But or maybe even trying to go to the studio before you work. You got to try to build like a routine or a regimen that works for you. That would be my best advice, you know?
Make a time for it. I've gotten better as an artist the more time I spend with myself.
Okay.
Basically, because in that moment I'm focused, right? So it's like, it's just, imagine if it was just me in this room, right? I have nothing but just silence, right? So it's like you spend so much time with yourself to grow. And another thing I wanted to speak on was for startup artists. People don't put up a fake profile as if you've already, like, you know, like, it's okay for people to know that you're just starting off. Don't start off as big and then people to find out that it's all fake.
That's key. That's a super key point. For you to have some type of image where it's like, oh, I got this type of car, this, that.
Yeah.
People want to see the growth. And I said they want to see the growth. If you somehow start off just, oh yeah, I'm already, they can't relate. How are they supposed to relate to you in that regard? And that's genuinely what helps artists grow, like relatability, like something like, oh man, like I shared an experience with him, I feel closer to her, etc., etc. Like there's so many moments like that where, yeah, like people will put up a front or a fake image and it's unnecessary. Like my man saying,
the growth is beautiful, man.
Exactly, it's beauty in the growth. J. Cole said it's beauty in the struggle, and that's what it is. Let them see that at one point you were struggling, you slowly but surely started taking steps, started connecting dots. Next thing you know, okay, I got a live show with 300 people in it. The steps are necessary. We're literally going through this phase right now.
For me, it's honestly, it's the roller coaster that's teaching me things about life. You know, some days I'm down here, and then some days I find myself up here. I'm like, oh shoot, I'm into the top. But you have to work hard to stay up here. But you know what I mean? As a startup, man, hey, it's not easy. You find yourself in the roller coaster, and you gotta do what you gotta do.
In my opinion, especially being like a newer artist, like it's like basically, like, to your point, it's showing the evolution, but it's like you appreciate things more. Understanding, like, there's lows and highs. So when you are at a low point, you're like, dang, man, like I remember yesterday I was feeling like blah, blah, blah. I had X, Y, and Z going for me. 3 more, like, I got more retweets, whatever you talk about social media, it's like I got more shares, I got more likes, blah, blah. But you gotta understand, like, yo, man, there's highs and lows, like, and everything in life. And I would hope that if you're truthfully trying to strive for something, that you have that heart and that willpower to actually go and get it, and like understand you will be, lots of things will happen, you'll be discouraged, but at the same time it's like you got to keep going, man. Like,
keep going.
Trust in your ideas.
One thing I recently just learned, you work with so many projects, and not every project is guaranteed to make it, like to give it like that big hit. You know what I mean? You know, some records you make, it's not gonna make it. It's not gonna like go big. You know what I mean?
Hold up. Although you just recently learned that, let me. It's not to say that you can't use that method or that philosophy, but another way of looking at that is try to treat everything as if it was going to be a big hit, as if it was going to be a smash. Because it's like, it's almost like if you're going to the basketball court to work on your moves, dribbles, layups, whatever. You can't go there as soon as you're going up for a layup. I know I'm going to miss this, and you just throw it off the glass. It's like, what's kind of the point of that? You got to approach it.
You're discouraging yourself in that manner, basically.
You got to try to. You have to try to have every shot go in. It can't be a situation where you're throwing it up just to throw it up. Like that, and it's not to say like that's like you're wrong. It's just trying to have a different approach, like a different spin to that point that you had just learned. Because like, no, you might think like, it might not be a situation where this was going to be a hit. Nah, bro.
No, what I was going for was the results.
Okay, sorry, I apologize. But still use that method.
Exactly.
Like, every song you make, please try to make it like,
think of it big.
Think of it like, yo, this is gonna be the biggest hit I ever made.
What I'm saying is like the results. The results may be different. And that's okay. That's okay.
I apologize. I was not cut you off in sense, but hey, man, wait a minute.
But you made a good point.
I want you to think that your music's a hit every time you make a hit. You know what I mean? Like,
everybody should.
Like but yeah, you're right. You're 100% right though. The results may not be a hit, but you should still try to treat every song like it was one. You know.
You know, it's some good stuff. Well, this is where we'll take a break because I'm trying to check.
Trust in your idea. Grind hard till you're free. Till I'm gone, more love. Build with who you trust. Oh,
And we're back after those commercial messages. This is a newscast. I'm your local anchor. Yeah, man. Like, it's different though. It's different. Like this roller coaster, like
Of life,
man. Like trying to figure out what you're trying to do and trusting that you're built for it. You know what I mean? Like this.
Are you hold on? I just like a thing that also somebody just told me. I just realized about myself. Do you think we're meant to live like one life and just like your purpose is to have like that one thing, like let's say just a doctor, and then that's it. You forget.
You just stay as a doctor.
Yeah, you just stay as a doctor. You forget everything you've done as an athlete, or let's say growing up you did sports. Do you believe you should like plant seeds in everything you're good at, or just go for one thing?
Well, I would say the former instead of the latter. Like, I believe that you should plant different seeds in different things and test your hand at different things, because like if this is the one experience we get, aka the one life we get, like you
Use it up.
You have to. You might see people who are like, let's just say, and it's not to knock on them, it's like, let's just say you see people who are like 60, 70 years old, just living comfortable, living moderate, whatever the case is. You might not feel like they've lived a long life or a joyous life because you see them driving not necessarily driving a Maserati or some type of Ferrari or whatever, but you don't know that throughout their 30s, 40s, and 50s they went rock climbing, skydiving, etc., etc.
You don't know.
So I'm saying that to say, like, your idea of like success or a full life might not be the same as somebody else's. But at the same time, like, for example, I don't want to do any of those things as far as like skydiving and all that. Although somebody might be like, oh, you only live one life, why not? Because I'm trying to live a long life. It's just that simple. It's just that simple.
Some things will shorten your life.
Yeah, I'm not about to pull a parachute. It doesn't work. Then you pull the reserve.
It's not working.
It doesn't work. Done. That's why it's like, people got to understand, hey man, yes, live your life fully, do the things you genuinely want to do, but for others, they might not want to do the same. They might not want to do the same things. But again, planting seeds in different things in life and testing different and trying to live your life to the fullest in that regard.
I think so too.
I would think that would be a dope approach. Like. But at the same time, man, like, you gotta remember, like, for the man or the woman who's always been a mechanic since she was 7. I was working on my dad's car since I was 7, and now she's like whatever age and she's working on cars and killing it. Hey, nothing's wrong with that. Be a phenom at that. Like that's the beauty of it. So it's just my personal perspective. I know that there's like, life's for the living. Like, you can't just kind of be at a standstill. At least I wouldn't want you to be.
You gotta figure it out. You have to go. You have to find out what you like, what you don't.
You do.
But yeah, that was just that.
And it helps when in my opinion, it helps. Like,
it helps.
If you have somebody else, like if you have other people around you, like, who are trying to add to your garden, so to speak, like to the seeds you're planting, like, oh, have you tried this? Yo, you ever look into, like, that also helps. So it's like, like being in a flourishing environment obviously can help. So try to be that person for a friend. You know what I mean? Even if you haven't necessarily experienced.
And also, it's something that you learn through as well. Because I brought it up because that's something I'm doing right now, planting seeds, right?
Okay.
Some seeds die. That's okay.
Yeah. Some wither. Some wither away. Yeah.
You still have 7 going. But like, growing up, everybody does sports.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Every kid does sports.
At least you hope that the kids would do sports.
You know
some of these kids be out here just video games and then that's it.
That's not good.
I just left the crib. Both my nephews were there, both playing Fortnite, and I was hurt because I was like, bruh, it's getting just a little bit warmer. You also be outside running.
Go play or something.
But anyway,
yeah, man, it's just like, plant those seeds. Some of them may not work out, but it's okay. I'm still going for it. So like, if you have a gift of writing, man, go ahead, write. If you can sing, connect those two together. That's a perfect combination. you know, if you're good at sports, you don't have to make it as an athlete, but that's a good thing for yourself as well. You know,
Stay athletic,
that's
man.
it.
Even if it's just you
Even
and the
if it
homies
makes
at
you
the
to
Y.
school team or
Yeah.
whatever team you're going for, it's just a matter of staying active because that plays a big factor.
Hey man, you feel good. You feel good when you know you more or less accomplished something. You sweated something out. You feel good, man. Like it helps
bad energy out,
and it helps them serotonins and whatnot.
Yeah.
Them endorphins grow in your mind and help you, like, you know what I mean. Feel
That's it.
all around joyous. It's necessary, man. Like, it's dope though. It's dope.
That's how I go about it.
I'm just trying to think, like, that's the because like I had something to add to the topic you brought up about
Sports.
shoot sport, like yeah, like people people like not necessarily understanding that it's all right if you, let's just say you are a high school star, but you don't necessarily make it to the next level. It's like sometimes your dreams just be crushing that, but it's like, yo man, like still keep playing, still keep developing that game. It's like, just because you don't necessarily get to live like that quote unquote big dream, it's like, hey man, like you're still important, you still matter. And it's like people sometimes get stuck in a certain phase or a certain time of their life where they more or less had shine, or they more or less had a situation that was like, oh yo, this is it, and then it fades away, and then it's like, oh man, it's like, but it's like you gotta try not to like frown. Like it's like a quote that used to be on my high school wall. It's like don't frown because it's over, smile because it happened, and it's real, bro. It's like if you could somehow try to like encapsulate that quote into like a feeling to make yourself understand, like, yo man, different. You alright after that, man. Like it's just a matter of, I'm just constantly trying to say keep pushing in whatever facet of life you're at. Like the athletes who more or less it doesn't work out,
just keep it going.
Certain artists, whatever the case is, it might not work out as you as a quote unquote artist. But then when you move on to the writer side, now all of a sudden people want to start singing your song. Hey, bro, just don't stop.
I know.
Keep going.
I know it says that we have one life to live, but for me, I think within that one life we have like multiple lives.
Yes.
And why do I say that? I say that because like it's like situations in your life makes your life a certain way, you know?
It does.
So
it does.
when you grow out of that situation, that's a past life you're living now, you know? And then you go through another one. You're gonna through every phase you go through, that's a different life. That's how I see it, you know? So if you try to be an athlete and that didn't work out, that's cool. That's a different life. Grow from that life, find another life that you're good at.
You might mess
know what I
around
mean?
and shift in, like, let's just say you're good with your grades. You might mess around and shift into being a scientist just because, like, oh yeah, man, I used to love quantum physics, or I used to love certain types of biology. Take your time and try to, you know what I mean, navigate through it. Like, try your best not to be discouraged. That's all I can ask. You know what I mean? Like,
That's it.
through your different phases of life that you're living.
Once
like,
you get discouraged, it's over. You know, to come out of that area is really hard, and you just try hard enough to not go there.
Yeah, that's an awesome point. Trying your best not to go there, but also like to the people who are quote unquote, like, you do feel good or you do feel joyous when you wake up, whatever the case is. Yo man, if you can, try to be more decent out here, bro. Try to be more decent on your journey, because it's like the people who are more or less easily taken down, like, they need it. We like, it's like, we gotta be out here uplifting each other. Like, it's so easy to be negative, and that's what we don't need, man.
The one thing I do not understand though is, if you feel so good, what makes you want to make another person feel bad about themselves?
Or push up your glasses,
you know what I mean?
and hold up your just up here holding up your chest, like, huh? Look at these peasants. It's like, what?
When I'm in that state of mind, I just want to share it. You know, my happiness, my joy, everything. I want to share it with you. I just want to be like a chain that
like an energy source, just like a dope energy, positive energy source, man.
And that's why I never understand people that come to me with a negative energy, talk about this. I had a situation at work. I was working in Toronto, and a lady, she was the first person there every day. She would open the doors, and so when I come in, it's a good morning. I'm a morning person, I can say that. So I come in with a big smile, right? And then she's like, yo, why you always smiling? Like, why you always got a smile on your face? I said, lady, if my smile annoys you, I don't know what you want.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm just genuinely happy, and I want you to
That's
have
how
a
it
good
has to
day.
be.
Why are you trying to make it the other way around? I don't understand.
No, but
Yeah.
hey man, and that's as unfortunate as it is. It's like, and it's not me trying to put this judgment on it, but it's like for some people, that is their purpose.
That's
It's to more or less
their
be
mode. That's
negative,
it, yeah.
right? It's to be an energy drainer. It's to be as soon as you come in the room with a light, with a glow up or something like that, then they want to throw
That's
all types of
their
shade,
job, right?
all types of shade, they want to throw all types of shade to your situation.
They'll
It's like-
volunteer for it. Come
no,
on,
and it's
man.
real, man. It's like, and when people have that positive energy and it's genuine, like it's contagious. It like radiates off them. It's not like a situation where it's like it can be fake. So that's why it's like, yeah, if you are trying to be a positive person and someone's trying to just take that away, it's like, come on now.
Let's talk about that though. Why do you think that's like a normal thing for some people? Like
Well-
showing bad energy. What causes that?
Well, one, I would say it's not that this is just my opinion, but it's just I look at it like this. From what I've seen, man, it's like misery loves company in the realest sense. Like
Wait. Say that again.
like misery loves company in the realest sense.
I
Like,
like
that's how you got to take it in the most literal form that you can. You have to understand if I'm looking at you, you're a popping star, whatever, you're a celebrity, and I'm envious of you, and I wish I had your life and things of that nature. I'm gonna say either one or two things. I'm gonna say, "Oh wow, he's dope. I want to be like him," or I'm gonna say, "Oh man, what the man, fuck that man, this that and the third, man. Like I ain't with it. He's whack, he's lame, this that and the third." It's like
Because
you're project. It's like love and hate are like very similar.
That's your
like,
mirror, but you don't see yourself in it.
Yeah,
You know
man.
what
Like
I mean?
you want to see yourself as him, but at the same time, you dislike him because he's the one who has it. It's like, or her because she's the one who has it. It's like that would be like, in my opinion, like why people like you want like. I'm miserable, so you have to be miserable too. And it's like, okay, so you gonna just throw the shade at me because that's just what it is. Instead of us like you trying to like do something about it in the sense of trying to get to your own place of, oh yo, look at him, look at her, and now you're the one shining. Instead of that, you'd rather just be like, nah, yo, he ain't nothing. Well, clearly he is something because he or she's being celebrated. You don't like it or you're envious of it. It's like you just want him to be miserable too because it's like it's just, and it sucks because like then you it's kind of like a cycle. I'm negative, so I want you to be negative too, and then it's just like it continues, and it's like. Then you take and you only like you're the only power that's gonna be able to break that. Like you're the only one who can dictate your own like situation, your own destination, your own whatever. Like
they say happiness is a choice. You know.
In my opinion, I believe that.
That's
of
right.
course, like you can feel joyous and you can smile and set like different types of endorphins, all that. Like yes, chemically that can be a factor. But I'm saying in the sense of you choosing to be like, okay, this just happened to me, but I'm still good. I'm still like, that's a choice for you to feel that way.
I also feel like people confuse being happy and getting sad at the same time as a bad thing. Like no, these are feelings. You're supposed to go through them.
You're supposed
you know,
to.
just because you're happy does not mean you won't be discouraged. Or you will not have moments that brings you down. That's perfectly fine. That's what makes you human.
Yeah,
Thank you. You know, you have to go through these emotions, and especially with the. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I'm sorry, I don't want to break your thought, especially if you remember your thought.
Yeah, I'll remember.
No, well, hey, all I was simply saying was this. I was gonna add to his point by saying that, like, the fact that we are supposed to display our emotions. We're supposed to make sure, hey. Do not shelter these, do not compress them, like express them. Otherwise, like, yo, man, if you have anything, let's just say you did have something negative, you got to get that out. Otherwise, it's going to create all kinds of cancers and all types of negativities all in your body and stuff. And also, if you have positive things, let them out too, man, because then it could allow something positive to grow in somebody else. I'm looking at it like, it goes kind of into hand in hand with like living your truth. That's kind of what I was trying to add to the whole express your emotions. Let your emotions, it's not even about just emotions, like whether it's like you don't want to show emotions, so you showing somebody like you don't want to give them your energy if you had positive, like, hey man, if they're undeserving and you feel that way, cool.
That's cool.
But live that. That's your truth. Live your truth. Show your emotions or not. Like that's you. But I want you to like live your truth, like, and just to add on that, like to alley-oop off his point.
You just mentioned what the next point I was trying to go to. But for me, I want to talk about it as a man.
Okay.
I feel like most of the time as men, we like to shelter our feelings and our emotions.
True.
There's nothing wrong with being tough and being, the tough guy around the block, but you're still a human, my brother. It's okay to crush down and cry. It's perfectly fine.
Even if it's by yourself, you don't necessarily have to do it around everybody.
Yourself, we can only play that role for so long. And because you're playing that role of a hard ass, I'm sorry to say that word.
No, it's all good, but it's an open forum.
It's a tough role to play. Yeah. So sometimes we're just consumed with this mask that you forget to go, to come in contact with your feelings.
Now, to add to that, it's like, you gotta remember that we've been conditioned, right? Like, we've been conditioned in the sense of, like, especially like young black men. Oh, yeah. Not even about putting it on race, but it's like, especially young black men. It's like,
because you can only speak from that. That's you.
Other than like our mom, our dad, granted these people are present in our life, either one. Who are you really supposed to turn to as far as expressing yourself? When a lot of times, like you want to be able to say, hey man, I'm gonna express myself to this person, I'm gonna express myself to that person, but then all of a sudden he tells your business or she tells your business, and then it's like, oh, this person's a snake, this, that, and the third. Like, I don't mess with them. Da, da, da. Sometimes these types of things, like as far as society conditioning us, like that's why people want to be all hardened and I ain't letting out nothing. I ain't letting. It's like, hey man, I ain't letting shit out. Like, y'all, it is what it is, bro. Like, I ain't gonna tell you, that's what it turns into, because it's like the conditioning. Now, don't get me wrong, we're slowly but surely growing into a society where like there's open forums and people can link up and talk. Women can talk with women, men can talk with men.
That's it.
Men can talk with women, etc.
There's definitely should be a platform for that.
No, man, because
when you just hide your feelings that much and
when it
explodes, brother, when it explodes, it's not good for you. It's not good for the people around you.
And misplaced anger ain't no joke, man. Like you blowing up on somebody who it wasn't necessarily their fault for you to blow up on them. Like, hey man, ain't no joke, man. And we're just like a society condition. Like, we kind of do that. We love doing that too, man. And it's like, oh man.
Like, we want to be part of the society, but also remember to be yourself. I always encourage humanity first. We're humans before anything, So, the whole emotional part. If a brother or if a sister's going through that, give them that emotional support. Don't be like, oh, listen, man.
I don't want to hear all that. It's like, oh man, especially like, but that's the thing. It's like, it kind of goes back to to a kind of like a next point, like. But still, like, with that point, it's like, whether it's your brother, your sister, and you're trying to talk to these people who you love the most, and they might not want to hear it, or vice versa, like, you don't want to tell them something because they are the closest people to you, but it's like, that's the person who you more or less should be sharing with.
That's right.
It's like, there's a lot of things that we got to, in my opinion, we got to unlearn, man, like, as far as, like, communication-wise, because that's all we have as far as human to human, is whether it's through body language or through physical, like actual like your vocal cords, like communication. So it's like, okay, you're always trying to relay something to somebody else, like no matter what the situation is, it's always a transaction. So it's like an interaction and a transaction. It's like,
that's it.
Some type of conditioning or reprogramming, I should say, because it sucks, but we've been
human interaction. We're missing that right now. We're missing human interactions because we are so caught up in ourselves and the devices we have in our hands. We forget. Man, I just learned how to give a proper hug. Okay, I just learned because I didn't know how to do it as a teenager or whatever, because I just went in and I'm like, okay, cool, that's done with, until I found out how to do it properly, man. I appreciated it because it makes you it doesn't have to be like same gender or whatever. Hug is a hug, you know what I mean? I feel like that's another thing as men we're afraid to do. Give another man a hug. Like, no, man, like, it's cool. It's cool. It's a form of trust and brotherhood, and you're my friend. We can do this. And
yeah, man. As men, and hey, man. If as men, that's what it is. Like, it's like you got to be able to be like it's not even about being vulnerable or anything, being all the emasculated. No, it's about just simply saying like sometimes people are like over masculine to the point where it's like you're like, oh, I'm some type of Conan the Barbarian type dude, bruh. You don't even know me, bruh. And it's just like, man, like see, so basically you didn't have like a mom and you didn't have a childhood and things like I remember when we were kids and we used to play bad. Like it's like now it sucks. Like yes, people do go through things that harden them and make them into you can go through a point of being.
You're so soft.
But it's like there's got to be a connection back to humanity at some point. Like you can't just be some stone cold person the whole time.
You can't.
Like
we all don't want to lose ourselves, but situations.
And don't get me wrong, there are certain exceptions and stuff like I'm not talking about people who are out here wilding and acting a fool and negative and hurting kids and all that. We're not. That's not the conversation for that. I'm talking about if you have a sound mind and you're conscious, things of that nature. You haven't necessarily gone through traumas to make you not be able to interact with people. Right. You might just be trying to perpetuate a lifestyle that you've seen online, like some type of real thug gangster. Like you just trying to act like him. It's like. We gotta chill with all that. You know what I mean?
That's not who you are.
Understand that's not the vibe. You know what I mean?
Like every kid right now is trying to flex on fake stuff. Oh, I got $50. Flex. You know,
clout chasing at its finest, man.
I see kids with not kids, but I see people with rings all over places. I'm like, man, if that's not your flex, don't flex it.
But at the same time, it ain't about no current events and no gossip or anything like that. But just recently on Instagram, I seen I don't know if you're familiar, but if you're not, I'll let the people know. I believe it's YBN Almighty J, a young rapper. He just got recently stomped out and hurt and beat up for his chain in New York or whatever. And it's super unfortunate because he's a younger dude, let's say still in his teenage or some range. And it's unfortunate as it is, him and the crew they got it. They got money. They got and it's their money. They earned it. They going hard. They hot and people love them. So people see that and then want to harm them and things like that. And it's that's super unfortunate that we're at and these are young. These are not to say it would be even worse if they were grown people who hurt them or who robbed them or whatever. But it's yo man, these are younger people around his age too that were acting a fool. So it's what? And then then you have older people who are stepping in, trying to intervene and things like that, and it's just a whole it's all chaos as far as because people are trying to flex, sometimes perpetuate lives they don't live, man. It's just stay in your lane, and don't get me wrong, it's not about staying in your lane you can't leave your lane or try something new. I'm saying stay in your lane as far as if you're not a thug in any way, stay on the sidewalk, do not go in the streets. That's just that simple. It's that simple. But it goes back to the whole masculinity thing, if you need to be out there on a block or you need to be doing certain things and then you got to do what you got to do. But it's if you don't and you live in the hills or you live in a nice area or whatever the case, and then you out here trying to be out there doing hey bruh, it's alright if you have a normal job. You don't have to, it's nothing embarrassing about clean money is clean money. There's nothing embarrassing about that.
That's right.
And but that's just a lesson I gotta give to the people.
I like how you said clean money because you gotta emphasize on that.
It's clean in the sense, and I ain't knocking nobody's hustle. Get it how you live. Get it how you live. I'm just saying nothing is wrong with clean money. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
You
just gotta live it there.
No, we will, man. For real.
That's it, man.
We trying to go to a commercial break.
Let's do it.
All right, so we're gonna go to another commercial break. We'll be back in 5.
Come on.
After these messages, people will still lose their mind.
With what? We're speaking the truth.
That's what I'm saying. If I'm out here speaking my truth.
Yeah, come in.
There's a bulb broken somewhere?
Yeah,
it's just right here.
It's a small,
Okay, somewhere in this little area.
Speaking your truth or whatever, just, I don't know, man. People could look at you crazy, but I'm saying, whether it's people in the room or whatever, that's how the approach could be, and I'm just simply saying, it doesn't have to be negative, the intent behind it, it doesn't have to be malicious, just, put it this way, if the shoe fits, sometimes people feel like it's about them.
That's right.
It's not even directed at you.
It's not direct, exactly.
But it's just that,
truth is truth.
The shoe fits. No, for real, we're definitely descent. We're hitting a descent, but I guess what I would want to say as far as like, just like a genuine general message is, parents, hey, love your kids. Reason why I'm saying this, now I got 2 nephews. No, I'm not a father, but basically help raise them like they're mine.
That's it.
They're dope kids. My sister's an awesome sister.
I love nephews. Oh.
That's what it is, man. Kids, they need everything as far as your like attention / care, like / love / need to, like they need to know that they're important and that they matter to you. In this day and age, and it's not about knocking parenting, no. I'm simply saying in this day and age, from my own experience, giving them like just all right, yo, go play the PS4. It's just basically distracting them, and I get it. Like sometimes we have things to do, but there's a like we gotta try our best as parents / uncles, aunts, people who raise kids. Like we gotta try our best to be more engaged, man. And please listen to your children. Like no matter what the case is, like there's got to be some type of truth in what they're saying. So just, please listen to them. Like that's just why I don't know if you have anything that you want to add on that, but
because in my shoes, I feel like I felt like kids, like they didn't care, or they don't pay attention. But it's the opposite. They pay so much attention.
Yes, they're focused on everything.
So when you do tell them, hey, you know, I gotta go out see you tomorrow. To them, they're making a schedule already. I'll see uncle tomorrow. You know, so learn from me, because these are mistakes I'm trying to stop doing. Promising empty promises. Yeah. Don't do it. Don't do it.
I know. Just like as an example, like saying like I'm gonna see you tomorrow, but
don't say if you're not gonna do it.
You're not gonna go over
that. No, I did it over the phone calls. Sometimes I'm like, hey, listen, uncle's gotta go, but listen, I love you. I'll call you back tomorrow. Tomorrow comes, you have a busy schedule, right? So you don't have time to call them. But to them, they are waiting on your phone call, and this is something I've learned from my nieces because you know. Uncle, you said you were gonna call me. You know, it's like you don't call them, and it makes you sad. But don't give out empty promises to younger kids, and don't be careful with what you say around them, because they are paying very, very, very much attention. You know, the words you choose to use, the you know, everything around them.
Yeah, you're right. The actions you use, you're right, man.
They pay attention.
You're basically, as like a parent / guardian, like you're their superhero until you're not. Reason why I say until you're not. There comes a point where you yourself, as the grown person, excuse me, you might fall short, or you might break that like them looking at you like a superhero. Like, and you don't want that to be the case, in the sense of it's not about being perfect, but it's about being honest and being meaningful. Like letting them know why they can't get this candy. Not about just yelling, no, don't touch that.
Explain.
Like kids. Once you start yelling at a kid in that regard, like they just kind of seize up and they hear loud yelling. They don't hear anything you're saying. So it's like, although like yes, sometimes you got to snap and yell as far as it's an emergency. Don't touch that hot iron, whatever. That's different than you just yelling at them because they had asked for a bag of chips. Like, understand that, yo, man. Like, it's not even about being like, yo, tough love. It's like, yo, letting these kids know like that they're important. Kids, I'm talking about. I'm not talking about young adults. 14 through 20 or whatever, even though they're still kids, but 14 through 20, you can have more of a digestible conversation with them. But anyway, like, up until that point, like up until like roughly high school, it's like you want to make sure that you're letting them know, like, yo, you matter, like, and I'm here on your team. Like, if everything happens, like, call me. You can talk to me about things. You gotta be able to do that.
Even then, I feel like even if they're 14, 16, 17, they're still kids, right?
That's what I'm saying. They're still kids, but you can have like a digestive, like you can have a conversation
with them. But again, still remember to give them a reason why. Because most of the times, we try to tell people, hey, don't do this because, you know, like, don't do this, it's a bad thing. But why is it a bad thing? Give me a good reason why, you know. Because I want to be able to know if I do this thing, these are the causes, these are the consequences.
I know, right? And don't get me wrong, somebody out there might look at that like, oh, I don't got to explain myself to my kid. But it's not about explaining. You're explaining yourself to your kid. Like, that's like, like, it's not about saying like it's the way like I'm not gonna explain myself to my kids. No, you're explaining to them so that they have clarity. It's not that you are doing some type of disservice to yourself. Like, they should do everything I tell them. Yes, but at the same time, you want them to be informed.
Elaborate, exactly.
You want them to be informed.
Information.
Like these are the loves of your life. You know what I mean? Like these are the people who, God willing, you get to a certain age, like they're gonna take care of you and be awesome. Like you want to make sure that you're raising an amazing person.
That's it.
That's kind of sort of the only way to do it, right? Like no one's perfect. I'm just saying, like we gotta show our kids that we love them and we care about them. Like,
in every way, words, action, everything.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. It's just when you build a great relationship with whether it be your nephews or actual kids or whatever, it's a beautiful relationship. Everybody wants that. Everybody's envious of that. So let's just go into the world and do more of phone calls.
Yeah, man.
Social media has ruined that as well.
Yes.
We just shoot a text. Hello, how you doing? I'm okay. Okay, that's the answer.
That's what I'm saying. Check on your homies, man. Check on your homies. Check on your friends. Like, more phone calls, man.
Yeah,
like,
more phone calls.
Hit your mans up. Everyone, all my dogs, like women and man's dogs, all the dogs. Every time I call them, yo, why you call? Yo,
yeah, why you calling?
I'm like, I don't even. And then when I'm with them in person, yo, man, why is this person calling me? I don't even like calls. What? You so it's like you have it's a failure to interact, and then that's the person's fault that's calling you because you don't know how to interact with a person.
Yeah.
Sometimes, especially, bro, we live in Canada where it can get up to like -50 for no reason as far as the winter. Yo, I'm calling you to say I'm outside. I'm not gonna shoot you a text. I'm calling you because then when you're sitting there fireside, you're sitting there, it's nice and cold. You ain't looking at your phone, and I'm outside freezing. So I'm saying that for an example. Call your homies, check in on them. If ever you guys are linking up, call them.
That's right.
I'm not relying on yo, I'll see you in 5 or yo, I'm out front. No, I'm calling you and pick up the phone, man.
Pick up the phone.
Man, hey.
Because emojis don't speak it. They don't speak it
they
all.
don't do justice.
Yeah,
all right,
so
emojis don't do
You have to
justice.
use your words, man. Let's encourage each other to make phone
Unless you're
calls.
using these eye emojis on, you know what that's for. As soon as the post and
You already know.
the comments like, no, but seriously, man, like that's what it is, man. That's what it is.
Yeah, man.
It's another episode, man.